Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's Friday. It's September the 18th, the year of our Lord 2020. And just by saying, hey, it's Friday, something happened. Something unusual, something uncustomary that I'm going to have to say my standard reply to everything these days is, well, it's 2020. And, well, it's 2020. Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away today at the age of 87. And because it's 2020, this complicates things immensely. With me tonight, I have Sackhead Sean, one each. There we are. Anyone and everyone is welcome to call in. This happened so late that I didn't even really get a chance. I pushed it out on social media as best I could. And some people may be able to be here. I see, it looks like Alan is in the chat, unless he just didn't remove his name yet. Whiskey Dale's in chat. Looks like Sergeant Booker's in chat. I haven't checked Facebook chat yet, or what Facebook is doing. In any event, I just suggested that we go on, open up the telephone line for folks if they're interested in calling, or what their thoughts may be. The number is 575-208-4481. 575-208-4481. I'll put that down in chat. 575-208-4481. What I thought I was going to be able to do is contact some of the people that customarily speak here. One of the first persons I thought about was Jeff Dunitz.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get a hold of Jeff. And Jeff said, I'm sorry, it's Rush.
Oh, yeah?
Hasana, so he's not going to be here. Then I thought of some other people, and then I got busy, and then I realized that I only have 35 seconds to get to the studio.
Luckily, you're close.
I'm about 25 minutes away, so it's not all that terribly far. And had to pump out as much social media as I possibly could. And here we are.
Here we are.
Well, we were hoping that Sackheads Clint was going to be here because Sackheads Clint kind of started this roundtable earlier this afternoon by saying, hey, did you guys see what happened? Well, I was doing some other stuff, and no, I didn't. I didn't jump into that until sometime later. Let's see. When did he...
It started about 5 o'clock.
Okay. And I don't know what time what time do you know what time she actually passed away?
I think Pacific time, it was around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
News got out about 4:30. They knew, her family knew. They were saying that, they were all gathering, and she took a turn a couple days ago for the worst. It didn't make social media news, obviously. But her family was all wrapped around the bed. She allegedly passed at home. I don't know what happened the last few days that decision was made not to go to the hospital and to stay home, but,
See, I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah,
apparently her family had said, no hospice, no hospital, tell you what.
Well, even so, nobody knew because it didn't make news anywhere. So
yeah, something like this would have gotten out in some fashion.
You think, but it didn't, so here we are.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, it immediately goes back, and first, politics aside, whether or not you agreed with what she decided or not, you have to respect the woman for what she had done, where she had come from, the fact that she was a Supreme Court justice. For those who immediately are going to condone her for her political ideology, and there are plenty out there that already have, you have to remember she had the respect and friendship of Justice Antonin Scalia.
I had, just as you recalled that, I remember, Scalia and she
Were tight.
were thick as thieves.
Yes.
And so that friendship clearly went way past philosophy. There was something inherent within each of them, and they were like the polar opposites on the court.
And they were
at
the
the
polar
time.
opposites in life, too. You know, she was a more quiet, she wasn't reserved, but she was just a quiet speaker. She was a gentle human being, by all accounts. She was fierce in her litigations, and she was fierce in her what she did on the court, and by all accounts, a great mom, great, good person. There's nothing wrong with her as a human being, just because I don't like her politics, and I can say that. I don't recall her ever saying anything that I personally took offense to outside of politics.
Yeah, outside of politics, no.
No.
You
And Scalia was from off the bench, from what I've understood, was very stage front. If you ever heard him speak, he's a great orator, a great speaker, but he was also in friendship circles, from what I read, very outgoing, very friendly, kind of like the laugh, all that stuff. So these two, everything about them is polar opposites. I mean, she was Jewish. He was a hardcore Catholic. He was a big dude. She was a young, little lady.
Yep.
But they were both respective juggernauts in what they did, oftentimes going against each other in decisions. And the fact that Antonin Scalia had the respect for her that he had, and their friendship says a lot about who she was off the bench.
I would completely agree. And see, here's the line that's been crossed, unfortunately, now for years, is I disliked, and I'll go so far as to say hated, Obama's policies
Yeah.
and his decisions.
Yes.
But no matter what I thought of his policies or decisions, I needed to keep him and his family separate.
Yep.
You don't say things about his family.
Yeah.
You don't say things about him personally. If you want to be even remotely professional, you go against his policies. And I had everything to say against his policies.
Yeah, his policies were horrible. And you go back, look, and I always got mad when people were slamming Michelle Obama for being Michelle Obama. Look, the things that she did, I didn't agree with, like the school lunch program, and things she's doing now socially, I disagree with. She's adding to the fire in this country. But, the school lunch program, a couple other things she did, I spoke against. Her as the first lady, as a human, especially the girls, the kids, I would never anything on the air, and majority of the time I was on the air was during the Obama administration, and there was a line. If she had said something that was politically related, okay, well then, Michelle opened herself up for criticism. Did I ever once talk about how she redecorated the White House, what she did with the flowers, the trees, or anything like that? No.
Yeah, that's just...
That's her choice. That's what you do when you're the first lady. That's part of your job, so to speak. That's part of your privilege as the first lady. The school lunch program was terrible. It was terrible. But that was a political decision that was put into effect that our children were dealing with. We spoke about it. Same thing applies with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Anybody who is glad that she's passed away, you need to rethink who you are in life and what you're doing in your life. And I said the same thing when all these monsters came out about Scalia. Oh, thank God he's dead, but you need to check your life. You can disagree with this politics.
You have to keep the personal and you have to keep the political.
Well, and it's already starting, right? Just scrolling
separate.
Through social media, and I still pull open social media from time to time. If you go through right now, all the people who are threatening violence and all this other stuff, if they push through a Supreme Court, is astronomical.
Okay.
It's already become political.
Are you on Twitter right now, or are you on Facebook, or wherever
no.
the hell you are?
No.
Okay. Because I was curious if you have any examples.
The guy used to work for CNN, and this was actually sent to me. His name was Reza Aslan. He was a host for CNN for a few years. He now does his own thing, it looks like. And he said, somebody posted breaking: McConnell, President Trump's nominee, will receive a vote on the floor. And he texted, over our dead bodies, literally. So calling for violence, essentially saying you'll have to kill us before you do that. And the other one says we will burn this fucking city, we will burn this fucking place to the ground. Was by him as well, threatening violence.
Was he any kind of a political? No, you're right. You said he was an ex-CNN commentator?
Yeah, so he was
contributor,
political.
something like that?
Yep.
Okay. So he's in politics, so there we go. It's okay for the left to advocate violence. Damn us on the right or conservatives if we do, and my guess would be, yeah, there's going to be some crap thrown out there by conservatives, but 90% of it is going to be by the people on the left.
Because they're already in full riot mode. So, before we jump in all that, let's back it up a little bit. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, nominated by President Clinton, 2003? No, 93.
No, 93.
Sorry.
Yep.
Getting my decades mixed up.
That's okay. I do too. You know how easy it is for me?
Yeah.
Hell.
Second, well, you have a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
Second, female appointed to the bench. You look at her history as a lawyer. She became a lawyer when there wasn't a lot of female lawyers. She went through law school when a lot of females didn't go through law school.
Yep.
I'm sure she put up with it, especially being a Jewish woman nonetheless. I'm sure she caught it. And she put all that aside. She had her family. She had her kids. She worked law. She became a professor at Rutgers, I believe it was. And, she's been in part some big Supreme Court cases and some very small ones as well, as they all are. But, you have to respect, and this country needs to remember we just lost the Supreme Court. That used to mean something to human beings in this country, no matter what side of the aisle they fell on, and it should. It's a huge, coveted position. It is a position of prestige. It is a position of power, but it's also a position to serve your country. And again, politics aside, when you choose to do that, it's a huge deal. And she did, I think, what she her political leanings probably thought was best for herself and the country. I didn't agree, but the fact that she served as well as she did and did what she did as well as she did shows you what an amazing woman she was. So now, which, what's funny is, let's jump to what happens next. Because everyone else already has. There's no mourning anymore for any public official when it comes time to appoint somebody to what the position they vacated upon their death. So we'll do what every other news channel has done already and turned right to the politics side of this. Trump happened to have released his Supreme Court picks, a week and a half ago?
Yeah, but I think it was well, okay, you correct me. I don't know if this was already, I think this woman was already in the food chain, so to speak, because she was considered last time around for Kavanaugh.
Amy Coney Barrett. Yes.
And so my guess would be she'll be relatively close to the top of nominations.
Yep.
Somebody had said something similar to Ted Cruz maybe in the running.
Yeah, so I don't know if Ted Cruz is in the running. Look, I think it's going to be, and if you want to start, if I'm Trump right now, I say no until after the election, but before the nomination. So I don't say yes now, because politically, he's probably going to get reelected. I've said that before, and I think everyone agrees.
I think so.
But let's say you need to force people to the polls. What better way to do it than to keep the Supreme Court on the line? It's what helped win him his last election. And what happens is, I think 50 days or something like that. Technically, they could at least pull it off, and as long as Trump nominates him after the election, and the Republicans can hold on to the Senate, they can still confirm him.
Let's hold on a second. I think we've got a phone call. Who is it? I think it's Kaiser. I'm not sure. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, how's it going, BZ? Yeah, it's Kaiser, brother.
Okay, what do you think about Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing today?
Well, I'm not going to celebrate it because of a few reasons. First, you don't talk ill about the dead. That's something Americans used to do. We didn't talk ill about the dead. It's just not right.
Mhm.
The other reason is because this makes it problematic for, we know this is going to go to the Supreme Court. We absolutely know it's going to go there. And this is going to be a split court. And you think the election with Bush was bad when they went after him? For saying he was selected, not elected? Oh, this is on steroids. And
Well,
anybody who's sane should recognize
if I had my pick, because as Sean and I were talking, it's 2020. Ideally, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg were to have passed, it would have been better in 2021, because the only thing this does is massively complicate the political landscape.
It's already complicated.
Everything is complicated, but this has thrown a pot of boiling oil into the face of a DC cataclysm where we already know Democrats, as you've indicated, they're going to or leftists, Antifa, etc., they're going to pop off. That crap isn't going to stop on November 3rd.
Nope.
Even if Biden gets elected,
Nope.
that crap is not going to stop November 3rd.
Right.
Because they ain't listening to the Democrats, they ain't listening to Harris, nor are they listening to Biden.
Agreed.
Clearly.
Agreed.
So all this does is complicate an already insane, complicated political territory that we've never seen things this stridently politicized and then lit with flames of violence. We've never seen this before. This ain't gonna help. And if you say, like you said, Sean, if Trump waits until after the election, that's not going to placate people.
Nope. And I get that part. Look, nothing he does is going to make people happy. He can wait till now. He can wait till then. There's always going to be a problem. But the people who will be affected by this decision are the people who aren't sure. And there's still undecideds out there, I'm sure. So, look, if I'm Trump and I want to play this politically and I want to make sure I'm setting up the next one, because there will be a next one.
Oh.
Breyer is not far out.
Clearly.
If I'm setting up the next one to be successful for my party, then I want to wait till at least after the election. So the next one, if it's near the end of his term, you can play that game a little bit.
Here's what I hope occurs. Don't know. You and I have decided for some time that, or I have. I don't know what your philosophy is on this. I go by what Trump does, not by what Trump says.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, fingers crossed a little bit, okay, maybe he makes a lot of mouth music about making a nomination. This is my ability. I can do this if I want, and then he doesn't. And then he waits until after the election.
Yes.
But
That's
you and
a
I both
class
know
move.
he's going to make mouth music. He's going to talk about this.
He's going to keep this on the forefront.
Oh, hell yes.
Until the election, because that's just what he does. And that's really what he's kind of good at. I mean, let's be honest. But the other thing, too, is he wants them to all of a sudden start focusing on the fact that he's going to do it, to turn around and not do it.
Yeah.
That's the genius of him.
The Democrats are so easily... God, what's the...
Led by the nose?
Yeah, led by the nose. Oh, I'm looking for a... trollable.
Yeah.
The Democrats are so easily
100%
trollable
Yeah.
these days
Yeah.
by verbiage. Don't you guys understand? This is his job.
He dices
This is
them
what
up.
he does.
He dices them up every time.
He manipulates you guys, including the American media maggots, in a way no one has ever seen before.
But, and again, so now, if you're Trump, you're going to get them going thinking that you're going to make the appointment and then not do it. Why? Because while they're so focused on that, you're going to run your campaign. He does this all the time. He whistles, they come running, and he hides from them and goes and does what he needs to get done. And they sit there and bark up the tree
Yeah.
like he's sitting up there. and there's nowhere to be found. He's over there doing what he has to do, his presidential thing. And this is exactly what he's going to do. Look, he made a good comment tonight. He came out and said, her passing was very sad.
That's a great
she
initial
was an
comment.
amazing woman.
Good for that.
She was an amazing woman. What can you say? And the passing is sad. And the Democrats and the Republicans are already fighting over whether or not Schumer's saying this, McConnell saying that. Yep. He's saying he's going to put it on the floor. But he left himself an out because he said, we will nominate or we will vote on whoever Trump nominates. So while they're all, and I don't know.
And he mentioned nothing about timing.
Well, Trump has to nominate somebody before they can vote.
Exactly.
So I don't know if there was a precursor to this conversation. Maybe like, hey, in the case of, this is how we play it. You say you'll pass the vote because that's what everyone wants to hear. And then it's on me to nominate. And we can play ball that way.
Well, and then this leaves a ton of opportunities, a ton of machinations open.
Yep.
But I think one thing that you and I, Sean, can agree upon is there's going to be smack talked.
Oh, yeah.
But it will all get down to, will he do it? So, Sean, will he do it before the election?
Nope. I think he waits till after at least the election. Don't get me wrong. Somewhere around November 9th, his nomination may be in front of a camera, win or lose.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay because...
Well, and it takes something like 56 days.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you're Biden and you're just coming through the door, are you going to put the kibosh on this and then screw yourself? Because now you have to put all your nominees in front of that Senate. Let's say Biden wins and the Republicans hold the Senate. Who do you think you're going to get through? Nobody. And they'll lock it up. They'll lock it up. So, I think he's brilliant to wait. I think he's absolutely brilliant to wait. I think that
this is like the perfect storm where I think you're going to hear shit talk and he'll strike a match to the wingtips of every leftist, every Democrat, every American media maggot
barking up the tree.
But and there will be big barking.
Yep.
There will be saliva flipped around all over the place.
Like I said, they're already threatening violence in the streets. That's already going to happen. That's already accepted if Trump wins. So here's the deal.
That's an excellent point. That's your basis. That's your foundation. Everything builds off of that.
Yep. So here's the deal. If you're Trump, you are absolutely... I think you're foolish to nominate before the election because, as we said earlier, the last election was won because of the Supreme Court. That was one of the big reasons that got people to vote. That turned up people that never would have turned up before. Why would you change that this time?
No,
and you get to play politics and say, well, I didn't nominate somebody going into this election.
Well, and that gives you the ability to... God... Again, what am I looking for? To use some distance, to distance yourself between what actually happened and what you said. So if I didn't make an appointment, so you guys are going crazy over something I didn't do.
Yeah.
One thing that is like this philosophically that occurred is... Chris Rock made a reference to something that occurred politically earlier this year that I didn't expect to come out of him, but he's right. What he said was Democrats are so focused on the impeachment
that they let COVID
that
happen.
They completely disavowed the Wuhan 19 coronavirus, did nothing about it, and damn them.
Yeah.
And so couldn't this then, Sean, be something kind of like that?
Well, so you want to start talking about decisions made in the past affecting your politics now, right? If you're the Democrats, and I said this before with Justice Ginsburg, they were trying to get her to retire before Obama left office, and she wouldn't do it. Whatever reason she chose, she did not do it. And it hearkened the question as to why. Was it a stubborn thing where she said, no, I'm still good and I want to stay? Was it a political thing where she said, well, I don't want you to have that many appointments, because remember, he had Sotomayor and the other justice there that he appointed. Help me out.
Kagan?
Yes,
Kagan.
Justice Kagan. So was it something like that where she was stonewalling because, she was trying to maybe do the right thing in her mind? But she didn't do it. She didn't retire. Nobody saw Scalia coming. Scalia happened. And then now here we are, right? So if the Democrats only have, in some ways, if they lose this, Ginsburg herself to blame for the fact that her appointment came up under a Republican.
And you could have had, I don't know, that was two. You could have had, are you saying essentially you could have had your trifecta?
Yeah. They could have been in the position that the conservatives are facing right now, that we may be able to lock up the Supreme Court for 25 years. Legitimately. And if Breyer, look, I think Breyer is 84?
He's in his 80s. He's probably next.
Yeah, and I think
Kennedy essentially aged out.
Yep. And I think Breyer is probably going to age out before retire. And here's the other thing, too. A lot of older people will tell you this. When they're older and at work with somebody and somebody their age passes away while they're still at work, it has a tendency to change your mind about things. And he's still a human being. So, Democrats, I understand why they're freaking out. Because if you look at the numbers alone, statistics, you look at Ginsburg, if that's a conservative that gets put in there, and especially if it's somebody like Judge Coney Barrett, who is 43 years old, 45. She's in there for 35 years.
That's damn near a perennial amount of time. That's generational.
Right. She's in there unless something changes. And then now, if Breyer happens to go in the next 4 years, should Trump win, 4.5 years now, that's another one that locks up. So you even get rid of the Justice Roberts situation where he technically was more right-leaning before he got on the bench and now he's a leftist. Offset. There's no balance in a good way, because if they
in a constitutional way, I think you and I would both care to point out. I got a list of Supreme Court justices and the Chief Justice in front of me right now. I'd like to go over them with you.
Okay.
John Roberts is.
Did we lose? I think we lost Kaiser.
Yeah. Kaiser, if you want to call back, that's fine. If anybody else wants to call, that's okay too. That's great. We'd like to hear from everybody. 575-208-4481. 575-208-4481.
Keep your comments close if you call, just because we're not going all night. This isn't going to be like a marathon session. We're here to cover the breaking news.
Yeah,
so
we're going to go maybe about another half hour or whatever, right around there.
We want to give everyone a chance.
So here's the list. John Roberts is 66.
Yep.
All right. Clarence Thomas is 72. Okay, possibly not far. Stephen Breyer is 82.
Yeah.
Sam Alito, 70. Sonia Sotomayor, 66. Elena Kagan, 60. Neil Gorsuch, 53. Gonna be around for a while.
Yep.
Brett Kavanaugh, 55. Gonna be around for a while. So the closest next two, if you're talking age, are going to be Clarence Thomas or Stephen Breyer. One black dude, one white dude, but it's potential. Sean, wouldn't you think? It's potentially two SCOTUS members in the next 4 years. Possibly.
I could definitely see Breyer. I could definitely see Breyer going.
I would see him before I would see Clarence Thomas, yes.
And I don't know if Thomas at 72, he still probably has a good 8-9 years. And unless he chooses otherwise, yep. I don't see him going before.
And I
that.
don't know that he has a history, a medical history per se. So absent that, sure.
So I don't see him going, and I'm okay with him not going, obviously, unless he wants to. If something changes in his life and he decides it's time to go, then yeah, that's his right. But I don't see it going. And look, Kavanaugh's what, 53? Neil Gorsuch is 53. Roberts, who is a centrist, we'll call him a centrist for the sake of argument. Hold on one second.
Yep.
You can come on the air in a second. He's young, so that's 2.5 conservatives. And then you add in, who did I miss? I missed somebody. But you add in Coney, and now the numbers change dramatically in the court. And then if they get another one in a Breyer, and you have another conservative in there, you've locked up that Supreme Court essentially for the minimum. Even if if Justice Thomas goes in the next 8 years and a Democrat gets a spot, you still hold the majority.
No, you still got it.
So,
like I say, this is potentially, this is for all the marbles.
Yes.
This is it. This is generational. Now, I've got 2 people online, 2 people holding. I got Kaiser. So Kaiser, first, since you were here first. What do you think?
I will say this.
Does Trump make a nomination prior to the election?
I'll say this. I think he should, do what Sean was saying earlier.
Okay.
Where he waits until like November 4th. He's got time. And he should go with Amy because, the rumor for a long time, Kennedy and Breyer have both wanted to retire.
Yes.
They didn't want to die out in office.
Yes.
Right.
So that's a reality. And Thomas has made quotes that he may retire within 3 or 4 years because, he likes to go camping in his camper. That's a well-known fact.
Can't blame him.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, I was going to say. Just side note, if you don't think
thing,
Clarence Thomas is not the most normal justice on the planet, you're wrong. I mean, the guy is what he does outside the court. You could drink a beer with him at a bar and never know he's a Supreme Court justice.
I suspect he's a pretty cool
super
cat.
Awesome guy. Go ahead.
Well, the last thing I'll say is on this, it is multi-generational.
Yes.
Whoever he puts on, I think Amy's probably the best bet, even though they're going to hammer her for her Catholicism and stuff.
Because they did that
But
before.
she is,
exactly.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to go for that, and she's, I can't remember the Latin term right now off the top of my head, but it means not to go against established law. And anyway, so it's like a conservative train of thought, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, and they're going to go with that, but
regardless of that,
go ahead, guys.
Regardless of that, just to finish. The last thing I'll say, Sean and DV, and then I'll listen off air. I have to say, look, what happened to Roberts is not unique, and I'll tell you why. You go to the D.C. area, well, this, especially D.C. You go down there and you get infected with the cocktail parties in D.C. and being invited to the right places, and your wife really likes it.
It's a drug.
You don't want to get out of that clique. It's the same thing that happens with the SES and the SIS, what they call the deep state now. But in actuality, it's the shadow government, which has always been there. And that's all I have to say, brother. It's
a drug, Kaiser. You're hooked. If you're in it, it's a drug. You're hooked. You are hooked into mainline in that.
Yeah, I can absolutely think so. And Kaiser, thank you for your call.
Kaiser, thank you, sir.
But no, and I think the biggest problem that you run into with, if you're the Democrats, you have to cautiously think about how you're going to go after if it's Judge Barrett, because she is a female. She is a mom of 7 children. Very, very, very well-established lawyer and a judge. Was a professor at Notre Dame.
You can't fault her smarts or her background. You can't. You shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem, is you shouldn't. So anything that they go after is now fair game for anyone they try to appoint next. So they have to be very cautious, because if the whole Me Too thing comes into effect, then technically Democrats just need to shut up and walk away if he appoints her, right? and this is aside of the fact that we as conservatives know that she is qualified based on her resume.
Beyond a shadow of a
And
doubt.
I think she would do an excellent job. And I want them to pick her because of what she does as a judge and what she's done in the past. However, I also, the little petty part of me, wants them to pick her just to shove it in their face and say, well, now what are you going to do? Because whatever you do for her,
you got to do that. You got to follow through.
we will follow through 100%. Who else was on the line?
We do have somebody else on the line, and it's open. I don't know who you are, so go ahead.
Hi there, BZ. This is Simone.
Oh, Simone, great. Good to hear you.
Hi, Simone.
Hi. So here's something kind of out of left field. What are the chances of Ted Cruz being appointed a Supreme Court justice?
Not this time.
We've seen Sean and I talked about this maybe 20 minutes ago.
Sorry.
We were
No, it's okay.
That's okay. That's fine. We like people to call and interact. That's great. That's perfect. I think the history being that she was on the cusp of going, and the decision was made to back Kavanaugh.
Yes.
This time around.
Yes.
So I think she's in the little funneling tunnel where all the cattle go, and I think she's at the head of the line next. But as you indicate, Simone, some other people have said, hey, people are thinking about Ted Cruz, and as Sakatron and I just said, there's Breyer, there's Clarence Thomas.
You wait for Breyer.
Those times will come.
And Simone, politically, if I'm Trump, I don't want to pick somebody who's a politician. There is too much for them to go at and potentially hold up the nomination and delay it longer. You pick somebody who has just been, and I don't want to say just like it's not an accomplishment, only been a judge and a professor. It's really hard to go against that. But you don't have a million political tweets, statements, votes, all this other stuff for them to rip through.
And you're not in the public eye, in the television 24/7 over, I don't care, fill in the blank.
And it doesn't look like a political favor. Even though it's well documented that Trump and Cruz don't always get along, the maggots on the left will sit there and say it was a political favor. So I don't think Ted Cruz is not qualified. He's absolutely qualified.
Yep.
That's not the point. The point is, I don't think politically you pick a Ted Cruz right now. And I don't know how much you know about Judge Barrett, but I think that you would get the same type of decisions out of both of them. Obviously Ted Cruz, you can play up politically speaking, because the left will do this too. You can play up his Hispanic heritage, his background, all of that stuff. He's got an amazing story as an individual for everything that he fought for and achieved in life. But I think that you go with the only thing they're going to get Barrett on is being a white. That's it. Unless they're
going to go for this. I happen to have this all queued up and ready to go. Let's listen to Dianne Feinstein.
When you read your speeches, the conclusion one draws is
This
that
is her
the
talking about
dogma
Amy Coney
lives
Barrett.
loudly within you.
Listen to that again.
The dogma lives loudly within you. The dogma lives loudly within you.
Yeah. So you could say that about any
And
candidate, though. You could say their
that's of
political
concern
dogma.
when you come to big issues that large numbers of people have fought for years in this country.
See, people back in the 60s, because I'm that old, people were making that issue of JFK because he's a Catholic. Right. It's 1963 all the fuck over again when you have people in 2000 and what was this, 16 or 17, pointing the same damn thing out.
This is a single issue statement, though. This is specifically Roe versus Wade. And again, this is what may shock you. And the same thing happened with Gorsuch, and not all conservatives were happy about it either, is Barrett appears to be a constitutionalist. And she makes decisions based on the Constitution because she respects the Constitution.
Shock.
Now, if there is a presented argument for Roe versus Wade that does not meet the constitutional test to overturn it, I honestly don't think Barrett would do it because, unlike the left, who's used to people wanting to make law from the bench, I don't think that she would do that.
She believes in precedent.
Yes.
Which is constitutionally adhered to in terms of tradition and history.
And Neil Gorsuch proved that a couple months ago. I forget which case it was, but it was everyone on the right was like, "Oh, we just appointed this guy." And I said, you have to understand, if it doesn't, you don't want to start making decisions on political beliefs one way or the other. The Constitution, as conservatives, is on our side.
Yeah.
So you stick to it, and sometimes you got to eat crow and make the right legal decision, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to work in your favor. So, the other thing, too, is you have to remember it's how the argument is presented that they rule on, not the argument itself.
Yeah. Simone, do you have any other points you'd like to make? Well, Simone, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. Do you think, knowing what you know about Donald Trump, do you believe that he's going to make a nomination prior to November 3rd?
Yes, and here's why.
Okay.
I think he wants to take some of the noise away from Biden. So I think he's going to do it just for that purpose. And it may not even be who he finally decides on. He may pick a front runner, knowing that person won't get approved, and have a backup plan for who he really wants. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay. All righty. Do you think this, then, Simone, will have a deleterious effect on the status of the country? Will this jack it up even more? Will the country explode? Or you're figuring, you know what? That crap's going to happen anyway.
I think the crap's going to happen anyway, and you might as well throw some gas on that fire because it's already burning. So I don't think it's going to make any difference, really.
Okay, so
Bring out the popcorn.
So Simone, are you an 87 octane gas thrower or a 91 octane gas thrower?
91.
I'm more of a rocket fuel gas thrower.
Oh, she's into high A. She's talking about, I don't know, JP4.
Yes.
Okay, something that burns really good. Kerosene, avgas. Perfect. I like that.
I'd definitely go kerosene.
Yeah. Good old avgas.
The kind of stuff that burns and it's see-through, you don't even know you're walking in it.
Yeah.
Or it's like we used to have ethanol used to be in race vehicles. No, not ethanol.
This
methanol. Methanol used to be a race fuel, and racers used to worry about a crash. You can burn in a crash in methanol and not know you're on fire because you can't see it. Maybe that's what Simone is referring to.
You realize, BZ, this is why you never do just a 2-hour show and it always goes over?
We're not over.
No. I'm just saying that example right there.
What are you trying to say?
Because she was saying high octane, and you started running down the history of gasoline back to methanol, why racers feared it because they used to be on fire and not even know it. And I don't know what that has to do with her statement.
Well, it was in reference to the burning, the heat of the burning, and then all this crazy shit floods into my brain, as you well know.
Have you ever seen 50
Guilty.
First Dates?
I've seen 58. I've seen Obama's 58 states.
No, 50 First Dates. Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you
guys for thank you guys for jumping on and talking about the subject.
Okay, all right. Simone, whoever you are, I like you. I like the methanol reference.
Yeah, Simone, thank you very much for making sure that he didn't stay on topic. It's not your fault. He just does this.
It's just the way the brain works.
Squirrel.
Yeah. I'm Doug.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're on. Oh, are we connected? And you're on the air with SH. Nope. Answer the phone, BZ.
Okay, here we go.
And you're on the air with SHR Media.
And we have another caller. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Randy Perm down in Texas.
Hi, sir.
Randy. God, great to hear you, sir.
Yeah, I told you a little jump on when I got a chance.
That's exquisite. Thank you.
No problem. I just want to say, on with this whole Supreme Court justice thing is that I truly believe that President Trump should hold out
Okay.
until after the election, and then make his nomination. And then what's going to happen, and this is my prediction here for the Supreme Court. My prediction is that not President Trump, but Justice Clarence Thomas is going to retire to open up a seat and give Trump a fourth pick.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
That is my prediction.
Okay, now, folks.
We mentioned that to a point earlier, and you mentioned it, and I said I wasn't sure if he would not be, just because I just didn't know if he was ready. He doesn't seem like a man who's going to leave a job before he's ready or feels like he's accomplished what he's wanted to. So, look.
Well, in his documentary that he just released a couple months ago, he kind of hints around that.
Which is a great documentary if you haven't had a chance.
Oh, okay, stop just for a second to both of you, Randy and Sean.
Yes.
Tell me about the documentary, because obviously I clearly missed this.
The name of it escapes me. I watched it a couple months ago. If you haven't seen it, you can Google the name of it. I can't think of the name of it off my head. It's his documentary. You have to see it. Oh, my gosh. I'm not going to ruin anything for you. You need to go back and watch it. Yeah, like, remember when I said earlier, like, if you think he's not a guy you could go sit and have a beer with, you're wrong. He is off the bench. Look, the man is brilliant beyond words can even state. Legal mind, out of control. As a human being, he is amazing. And so jovial and friendly and happy. I mean, you don't know Supreme Court justices. We're through the age of social media, YouTube, or whatever. We're starting to get more. They just did the Ruth Ginsburg documentary a couple of years ago. Did you feel watching that documentary that, like, did you realize how happy a justice on the Supreme Court could be, like, as a human being for what he's accomplished and just who he is?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought he was just, you said earlier, like, he's a cool cat. I'm like,
I was just going about what I perceive out of him. I haven't seen the documentary.
That's not even close to describe how awesome of a person he is. Like, I had a bunch of respect, obviously, before. Watching that video, it brought me to a different level of respect for Justice Thomas.
Okay. I think I found it.
Yes.
Randy and Sean, you tell me if this is it. I looked on PBS. It says, created equal, Clarence Thomas in his own words.
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Yes, in his own words. Yep, in his own words. That's the name of it.
Okay.
But you just, watching that video will give you such a different respect higher than you had for him before. He's just, and let's not forget what this man went through when he was nominated.
It was hell. It was sheer hell.
It was the original hit job. I mean, unbelievable. And in a country that right now we have all the BLM issues and whatever, seems to forget that the Democrats went after him with knives out. It was unbelievably horrible what they did to him. And it still didn't change. All it did is make him fight harder. It didn't change his character, and it didn't make him go away. But he doesn't forget.
And let's not also forget, Sean, that Biden was at the forefront.
Bingo.
Of that
Wait. Bingo.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean,
that's it. Oh my gosh. Oh, Randy, you nailed it. That's correct. That's absolutely. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah,
That's
a lot of people have forgotten about that. This goes back. You start talking about Biden and racism, and you go through his history. That was another case right there of how
He's
went
been on
at
the
him
wrong side
repeatedly,
every time,
and it's always personal. It's always personal. You know, that's the weird thing about Biden. Look, if he's making generalizations, but he always personalizes them. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
And or weird blonde leg hair stories.
Because it's never like, well, everyone knows the Irish are drunks. It's always like, yeah, I remember Patty O'Toole growing up, and that, you know, just like the rest of the Irish, it's a drunk. He always has a personal connection to the story that makes it even more weird, and it makes you believe that it is personal to him.
Yep, I agree.
Randy, you nailed it on that one,
No,
mister.
Randy, thank you for that, because that
God.
I think that's going to be.
That was perfect.
I don't know how this man is nominated right now by his party, but that's neither here nor there. That's not what the show's about. Sorry.
That's who they chose. That's who they chose.
Thank you so much for bringing that up, sir.
Yeah, Randy, thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely welcome. Have a good night and have fun. I'll talk to y'all later.
All righty. God bless. Take care, Randy.
God bless you too, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
I had completely forgotten
We didn't
about
didn't
that.
ask Randy. Can you call him back? I want to know what he thinks Trump's going to do
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can.
before we wrap up. I know he's going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Are you?
Hi, you're on the air live
Yeah.
with SHR Media.
Okay.
He's like, "Why?"
Yeah. Why are you calling me back? Randy, are you there still?
Hey, what's up?
We had a question
we
for you.
forgot to ask you the prime question that we've been asking everybody. Darn us for that. Sean, hit him.
What do you think Trump's going to do with this nomination, before or after the election?
If I was him, I would do it after the election.
Thank you.
But knowing him, he's going to do it before the election.
Okay. Very good, sir. We just wanted to get your opinion. I appreciate it.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you.
It's going to be a midnight tweet. Knowing him, it's going to be a midnight tweet.
Very good.
That's a name for a good garage band. And now introducing Midnight Tweet.
All right. Do we have time for one more?
We do, and as a
All right.
matter of fact, I got somebody else that called in. Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Yep, take it easy.
Great
Alrighty,
call.
sir. Let's see. I got Randy. Do I do? Darn it. Okay. Whoever was calling, the line is clear. I tried to merge him into a conference call, and I failed epically at that.
We purged the lines.
That's
Callers
right.
now.
So
caller
I
number
purged
10.
So caller number 75.
You've won the new Supreme Court seat.
Yeah, caller number 75, please call back, because our show is so darn busy. Before we go, I do want to play two things. Well, you know what? I'll play this one right now. This was what I thought was one of the biggest abrogations that I ever heard from Justice Ginsburg. And I was incredibly disappointed that we had a justice who couldn't even embrace this. And this is what I'm talking about.
You should certainly be aided by all the Constitution writing that has.
Okay, she's talking to people in Egypt who are looking for a new constitution. And this is what she thinks of constitutions.
Gone on since the end of World War II. I would not look to the U.S. Constitution if I were drafting a Constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. That was a deliberate attempt to have a fundamental instrument of government that embraced basic human rights, had an independent judiciary. It really is, I think, a great piece of work that was done.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that was her opinion. I don't know. I don't want to dig into stuff like that, because I'm one of those people. It's like you knew by how she was on the bench what she thought, but that doesn't change her legacy as a human being, and that's really what I'm more focused on.
Okay, who do we have waiting on the telephone?
Hey, this is Sergeant Booker.
Sergeant Booker, how do you do? This is
Good, sir. How are you?
Sergeant Booker. You're a first-time caller,
I never find out where Sergeant Takeaway is. It's always Sergeant Bookham.
That's
Sergeant Takeaway and Bookham.
That's right.
Sergeant
Well,
Takeaway,
this is
Sergeant
Booker.
Bookham.
Instead, Sergeant Booker, thanks for calling. And what are your thoughts on this, sir?
Well, I think Trump's kind of in a darned if he does, darned if he doesn't spot.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't come out and come out with somebody right away. What's the problem? You know, later on after the election, when we know this is going to go to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Yes.
No matter what, guaranteed.
And do you want it to be a 4-4 tie?
Well, and that's the thing, right? So if you're President Trump, you could make the argument of, hey, I need the Supreme Court to be full going into this election with everything that's gone on.
Exactly.
Okay.
I know you will get to this. to the hearings before the election, I don't think. But I
Right.
think the hearings would take Kamala Harris out of the campaign.
Yes.
They did.
Well, and the other thing is she could resign her position on the Judiciary Committee and appoint somebody else really quick.
Do you think her ego would allow that?
Well, allow, and I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had an answer.
Here's the other. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say
That's
brilliant.
Sergeant
I didn't
Booker,
think about that.
That's a brilliant argument to say I need a 9-count court so that we can break this and move ahead as a country. That's why I gave you the bell. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's an excellent argument.
that legitimately was the most brilliant argument I've made.
And I'm not just saying that. I mean, that's a great argument and strategy and a foundational reasoning for your doing that.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make the appointment right away, then I think he goes into Trumpese and he starts interviewing and talking to people, bringing them into the Oval Office and having chats with prospective nominees, and just let the Democrats go crazy.
So what you're saying is, which Trump strategy is it going to be? Is he going to go the negotiator, which he's very good at, of setting the precedence of, hey, we need a full Supreme Court, or are we going to get the shit talker who gets the every bit of media running in circles and not knowing what to do with themselves on every single thing that he says? Because you're right. He could be bringing in people like Dee Snider from Twisted Sister and be like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it for the Supreme Court, just to drive them absolutely crazy.
Exactly. He brings in Ted Nugent just to talk music, and they're thinking, oh, God, he wants him on the Supreme Court.
Oh, God.
But bring in likely candidates and let that go for a couple of days. Let the news media and the Democrats go crazy on that, and then step into another one.
It's brilliant.
And in the meantime, he's doing his thing. He's running the country.
It's bloody
So
brilliant.
it's hard if he does, hard if he doesn't.
No, it's bloody brilliant, and I wish I thought of it.
I thought I had a handle on trolling.
No.
From Trump. I'm a peon.
Yeah.
Compared to Sergeant Booker's rationale on this.
No, that was
freaking brilliant.
Yep, I agree, and I think that you bring up a point. And again, here's the thing: we don't know which it's going to be until he does it, so we gotta wait and hold on.
Exactly. I love the idea of
Sergeant Booker.
Maybe don't talk to this person. Maybe don't talk to that one. He does it at midnight.
I'm going to be laughing about this all night.
Yeah, and you just start bringing in the craziest people: Judge Judy, Judge Joe Brown, like. Just
Joe Wapner, he's dead.
Yeah,
I'll bring him back anyway.
Yeah, just anybody you can. Just Ed Koch.
Have you ever seen the TV show Caught in Providence?
No.
It's a judge. He's an older guy. He's really nice. Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh yes.
It's a TV show.
Yes, bring him in. Yeah. No,
bring in.
Yeah,
Jesus.
You know what? You bring in like a hot dog eating judge and be like, well, he's a judge, right? Just
wait.
Exactly,
Sean.
Bring in an NFL back judge.
That deserved.
Yeah.
Bring the judge with the Dave Milner tapping cane.
Yes.
Out onto the field. He's a judge.
Judge. Judge not Alito, Judge Ito from the
bring him back from the L.A. Superior Court,
yeah, from
right?
the Simpson case, Judge Ito.
Absolutely. You get some judges from Miss America. He ran Miss America for a while.
Wait, I'll nominate myself.
America's Got Talent judges. You just bring them all in.
Bring them all in. I'm interviewing judges.
Sergeant Booker, thank you.
That was great.
For what might be the most lucid
that was
thought
the most
process going into this
call we've taken in at least a couple of months, or maybe in 2020.
Look, all the other callers tonight had a great perspective, but this was a great perspective into what Trump's going to do. And Sergeant Booker essentially said, I don't know, but it's going to be one of these two things. He's going to be the master negotiator that he is, or he's going to troll the shit out of them. And both of those are 100% likely to happen. And I was proud to be a part of this.
Okay. All right. This individual has been calling, and because I had Facebook up, we'll see if I can call back. Jack, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Hey, sorry for that. My Facebook wasn't up because I was getting bleed over onto the channel, so that's why I killed Facebook. So thanks for calling, though, Jack Alexander. I appreciate your call. What are some of your thoughts? But it's a tough house, Jack, because Sergeant Booker was absolutely brilliant. But go ahead. No pressure.
Okay, I'll try and shoot these off rapid fire like a minigun.
All right.
As far as the gasoline thing, the soldier in me says 50% gasoline, 50% diesel. The gasoline to get it started, the diesel to burn it through. Yes, I've done enough latrine pits to know that. The pilot in me says 110 low lead. As far as Ted Cruz, we can't look. I'm no fan of Ted Cruz, but at least he's not Beto O'Rourke.
Okay.
But we can't, Texas and the country can't afford Ted Cruz to leave the Senate.
Hey, Jack.
The country.
Jack, are you on a speakerphone?
No, headset.
He sounds fine to me.
Is he? Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can't afford Ted Cruz to be off the Senate, so he needs to stay there.
Okay.
Fair.
Judge Janine Pirro would be my pick because she is one hell of a firebrand.
Oh.
She don't take shit from nobody.
Oh,
and I think she'd actually take the pay cut to do what's right for the country.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I don't know if I would pick her over I'd pick Barrett though, and the only reason being is if you've read Barrett's file and how she's just, even with Judge Pirro, she's a more qualified judge in my humble opinion. That's just me.
Well, then there's the thing now. If I understand my U.S. history correctly, gentlemen, there was a time when citizens were appointed to the Supreme Court, not judges. Not lawyers.
You're right.
Yes.
And in Texas, non-legal people can be voted in as judge as well.
Yeah.
I can't pass this up. This is great. In chat, Dave Milner said Mike Judge.
Yeah, we could do Mike Judge.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, Whiskey Dale said Judge Janine would be great. And then Whiskey Dale always said, and don't forget Judge Reinhold.
No, Judge Reinhold.
Judge Reinhold.
You can't have it without Judge Reinhold.
No.
I forgot all about that. Oh, God.
So what did you think, Jack, in a nomination prior to the election?
The Oldsmobile, the judge.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Given how short we are to the election, some of Sergeant Booker's ideas, I had the same idea too. I think Trump could get away with making the nomination before the election, saying, look, we are not going to get the only way I think he can hedge his bets and not get caned by the media and the Democrats too much is to say, okay, should I win the election, this will be my nomination. But I like Sergeant Booker's idea saying, look, you Democrats are going to try and appeal everything and have everything heard before the Supreme Court. We do need, in that case, then we need a full Supreme Court.
Yeah,
that was and Sean and I we were serious just for a moment when we both looked at each other in the Mark I Model 1 eyeball as he was saying that, and we both said, "Oh, brilliant!
Yeah,
that was brilliant."
It was. I think that was the most astute thing that has been said tonight about this. Honestly,
Sergeant Booker, we ain't kidding when we said that.
Oh, that would be the ultimate kick in the nuts for the Democrats, because they'd have a hard time arguing it.
Exactly. That's what made it a brilliant point. Go ahead and refute the logic of that.
Yeah. And they've already laid the tracks that they're not going to accept the outcome of the election, that they're going to fight everything they can.
Well,
and you put that on them and be like, well, that's why I have to do this.
Yeah.
And look, I don't want Ted Nugent on the Supreme Court. I want Ted Nugent to be the White House press secretary. So every time he comes out in front of that sea of liberal maggotness, he comes out and says,
with a crossbow or a longbow off his shoulder.
A crossbow off, hanging on one side and an AR-15 on the other. Hello, you little monkeys. And how can I piss you off today? That's what I've always wanted to see from Ted Nugent.
Perfect. I'm with it. Hey, Jack, did you get my email?
When did you send it?
Like 2 weeks ago.
The cred letter, yes.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'm still free, but I'm still sort of looking over my shoulder and
Nope,
things are getting much worse.
We can talk about it off the air. I just had you, and I wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jack.
Not a problem, guys.
Alrighty, thank you.
And you bastards for holding a show on the morning that I decided to sleep in.
Sorry.
Damn it, Jim. Hey, well then, okay, it's your fault for looking at the social media.
Don't blame us for breaking
I just
news.
put the social media out there. Okay, I put it on your site, but hey, I'm not to blame for everything.
Yeah, don't blame me. Dear God.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
Pull that letter.
Yeah. That was fun. We've already got two GOP senators who are on the record. I mean, this came out a couple of hours ago already. Two GOP senators oppose filling the Supreme Court vacancy in 2020. So let's see. If you had to pick a Jaffer to say that, who would that be?
Murkowski's one of them.
Yep, definitely.
And then Collins.
Funny you should mention that.
Was it Collins?
Just
because she's in a tight race up in Maine, and she has to play more towards the middle now in politics.
Let's see. Okay, Lisa Murkowski. And no, it wasn't.
Huh?
Chuck Grassley.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. But I said, they can say, it doesn't matter what they say. What'll matter is when the appointment comes as to what they do.
Okay, so the final gig is you don't think that President Trump makes a nomination before the election?
Nope. I think Jack is right and Sergeant Booker's right. I think he'll dangle whoever it is in front of everybody. I think that if he wins the election, the next day he'll nominate. But that's it.
No. And the other thing is, you must... And again, this is what I think is going to happen. He's going to light them up.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to light them up because they're so easily strikeable.
Yeah.
He's going to light them up, but watch what he does. And I don't think he does it before the election.
Nope.
But is he going to talk smack? Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, he's going to make him suffer for it. So, well, they do it to themselves.
Well, God, they're so easily trollable, like I said. Okay, I think we've run through the show.
Yes, sir.
You've got some things to do. I've got dinner to go get.
Oh, nice.
Demi, the studio cat, wants to be let out again.
Yes.
And I don't know if you heard during the show, folks, the fan was on and the cat was on.
Yeah.
So the cat, if you heard during the show, was doing the Demi version of I need to get the hell out of here, folks. So we had to come in. This has been, you know what I didn't even do? Gosh darn it. I didn't even do, I'm going to do this in retrospect.
This is an SHR Media Network special report.
Has been
an SHR Media special report. Well, thanks for being here, folks. If anything big occurs, we will be back. Also, Sackhead Sean, and while everyone is here, I should care to note, we will be back, all of us here, as we were in 2016. We'll be back for the SHR Media Special Report on the election. We will be here election night to provide coverage. We're going to have a lot of folks calling in. So if you think that you have suddenly kicked SHR Media to the curb, well, that hasn't happened quite yet. And we're setting up contacts from people from the East Coast to call in. So don't forget about that. Also, because I'm terrible at promos, but I should do it. This coming Tuesday night, I'm going to have a 3-hour SHR Media Special Report. It's going to begin at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. For 3 hours, I'm going to be talking about the coronavirus and the lockdowns. Where's the science? So 3 hours that you're not going to hear. You're going to hear I've managed to garner audio cuts that people have otherwise eliminated. Stories you've forgotten, stories you've never heard anything about. So, Sackhead Sean, any final words, sir?
No, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening in, folks. This has been an SHR Media Special Report. And it's time to go. Thanks to everybody who called in. We appreciate, and we got a ton of callers.
Yeah.
We really did. And I really appreciate it when people call in and voice their report.
Very much appreciated.
Sergeant Booker, that was, again, absolutely wonderful. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, for 2 hours of buttery political goodness. Have a great weekend. It's 2020, so it's like, what could happen this weekend? Prediction. Something crazy,
Happens this week.
insane, and off the wall
Yep.
happens this weekend or Monday, and then I'll report on it Tuesday.
Well, I said whoever looked at 2020 and said, what else you got is just
Yeah,
an
oh,
asshole.
no, yeah, thanks for fucking us.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks. Jesus. Okay. That's Sackhead's Sean. I'm BZ saying, batten down the hatches. Have as good a weekend as you can. Take care. Be safe. God bless America.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.